Okay. I switched browsers, so I don't know if it's going to behave differently. Hello, we might be on. Or it might be lying to me. There's no telling. It claims it's setting up the meeting. So if I'm on, it's lying. I'm actually in the meeting. We on? We are live now. There we go. Okay. Hello and welcome to Teen New Book Tuesday. I'm Lisa. I'll be your librarian today. Let me go ahead. Let me go back to Zoom. No, that's not what I want. I want that. And then I want that. I want to go like that. Share the screen. Let me do this. Let me do this. And sometimes it works. And sometimes it doesn't. We go like that. There. Teen New Book Tuesday. All right. Okay. So for today's show, we're going to go over June hits because we are already talking about June. Feels like April has been a million days long, and yet we're almost to summer. It definitely feels like we're almost to summer, starting to get warm. Or, you know, it's nice right now. If only it could stay like this for 3 months. We all know it can't. And I have a lot of titles today that are going to be also on audio. So we go over to what I'm reading and what I'm drinking. I am drinking my Tazo lemon strawberry green tea, which is one of my favorites. And I'm reading One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. I'm not sure how to pronounce that last name. But this is the author of Red, White, and Royal Blue, which I also read and I enjoyed. So I thought I'd try this one. It comes out in June. Move on to our giveaway. Today I'm giving away 2 books that are not yet out. They are 7 Days in June, very appropriately titled for a book that's coming out in June by Tia Williams. Comes out on June 8th. It's described this way: 7 days to fall in love, 15 years to forget, and 7 days to get it all back again. From the author of The Perfect Find, this is a witty, romantic, and sexy as hell new novel of 2 writers and their second chance at love. It already has over 4 stars on Goodreads from early readers. It looks like it's lots of fun. And for a nonfiction choice, I have Total Olympics. Every obscure, hilarious, dramatic, inspiring, and inspiring tale worth knowing by Jeremy Fuchs. This is a treasure trove of stories about the Olympics. They're organized with chapter titles like Forgotten History and The Wild and Strange. This is an ARC copy, so it doesn't have the index in it, which is a shame because I was trying to flip through it this morning and see if one of my favorite Olympic stories is in here. There was an Olympics in St. Louis in the early 20th century where the stories from the marathon alone are insane. Like, they ran the marathon on uneven, hilly roads. They did not clear traffic. So there was like cars going by as people are running the marathon. And at one point, one of the runners got into a car, drove further down the road, and then rejoined the marathon running and almost got the gold medal until like he was about to have it on him. And then people were saying, no, he cheated. We can't give him the gold medal. It was insane. They didn't give them water. There were people, their trainers were like driving alongside of them, yelling at them. It was so nuts. But yeah, so I'm sure there's a lot of weird stories like that in this book. If you have a preference between them, go ahead and tell me in the comments. But I also want you to write "I want to win" and your MPO location for pickup. If you don't have a preference, then you don't have to put anything other than "I want to win" and your location for pickup. All right, moving on. We are having a Star Wars party on Zoom, which I think looks like a lot of fun. There's a sort of prep kit that you want to get. They've got it at West Regional. You can go pick it up there anytime this week. And then you can join Jedi Academy on Zoom on Friday at 11 a.m. So that should be a good time. All right. First, let's talk about some nonfiction. All right. How the Word is Passed, A Reckoning with the History of Slavery Across America by Clint Smith. So the author started out in his hometown of New Orleans and then branched out from there. But it includes the story of plantations, prisons, and graveyards. It's all of these American places across the country, some of whom own their brutal history and some of whom try to whitewash over it. And it's how these places and the brutal enslavement of human beings helped create America. There's only a handful of early reviews, which is pretty typical for nonfiction, but they're positive. It also got a starred review from Publishers Weekly and Kirkus. And as I always like to say, one of our librarian jokes that Kirkus is the book or the magazine librarians read to find out why not to buy a book. So they're a little withholding of praise, and they really like this. We are getting it in large print and in audio. So if you're interested in how the word is passed, it comes out June 1st. All right, The Woman They Could Not Silence. One Woman, Her Incredible Fight for Freedom, and the Man Who Tried to Make Her Disappear by Kate Moore. This is from the best-selling author of Radium Girls, which is a really popular novel from a couple of years ago. Not a novel, nonfiction. It's a true story of Elizabeth Packard, whose husband committed her to an insane asylum. She wasn't insane. She was just unwilling to stifle her thoughts and opinions. This was in 1860, and at that time she was sent to the Illinois State Hospital, which she found held many other sane women in inhumane conditions, many of whom were committed for very similar reasons to Elizabeth's. She basically had her whole life taken away from her, but that also put her in a position where she had nothing to lose, and a whole group of women she felt the need to fight for, and she proceeded to do so. So this has a handful of positive reviews from early readers, plus Booklist magazine gave this a star review. We are also getting it on audio, so if you're interested in The Woman They Could Not Silence, it comes out June 22nd. All right, I have virtually no description for this book. It's called Here Right Matters by Alexander Vindman. I will read you what I have. The former National Security Council staffer who testified against President Trump during his impeachment proceedings earlier this year is planning to publish a memoir detailing his experiences. That's it. That's all I got. No early reviews from early readers, and I actually didn't see that many reviews even in books, but I'm sure he has a lot to say. And based on the title, he clearly has an opinion. So if you're interested in finding out what happened from his perspective, we are getting this in regular print, large print, and audio. If you're interested in Here Right Matters, it comes out June 15th. There we go. Let's move on to fiction. Starting with Our Woman in Moscow by Beatrice Williams. This is from a very popular author. I was about to explain the next book and not this book. So, in the fall of 1948, Iris Digby and her diplomat husband and their children all go missing. The world was shocked. They weren't sure if it's an assassination by a Soviet intelligence professional or if the family defected to Moscow. 4 years later, Ruth gets a postcard from her twin sister, Iris, whom she hasn't spoken to since before Iris's disappearance. Within days, Ruth is on her way to Moscow to try and extract her sister from behind the Iron Curtain. We already have a handful of early readers on this one that have given it a Goodreads score of 4.3 stars. We're also getting it in audio. So if you're interested in Our Woman in Moscow, it comes out June 1st. A lot of stuff comes out June 1st. Okay, this is from a popular author. This is from Golden Girl by Elin Hilderbrand, very popular Elin Hilderbrand, who New York Magazine calls her the Queen of the Beach Reads, which is fun. It's about Vivian Howe, who is hit and killed while jogging near her Nantucket home. She was a novelist She has 3 nearly grown children and a husband, but now she's in the beyond, and she gets one last summer to look over her family as they try to move on with their lives without her. She also has 3 nudges where she can change the outcome of events on Earth using them. So she has to decide how to use them, what is best to help the people she loves. Meanwhile, her final novel also contains a secret from her youth that could be disastrous if it came out. Because it's Elin Hilderbrand, you can expect lovely beach scenes, some gorgeous homes, mouth-watering meals, lovely descriptions. The early readers are giving this over 4 stars on Goodreads. If you are interested, we're also getting it in audio, and Golden Girl comes out June 1st. All right. The President's Daughter by Bill Clinton and James Patterson. Bill Clinton and James Patterson. This is the one duo. This is the one co-author Patterson has that has to have their name before his, because James Patterson was never president. So this is about an ex-Navy SEAL who is also an ex-president, and there's an imminent threat against his daughter. So presumably from there, he uses his skills as an ex-Navy SEAL to keep her safe or get her to safety or whatever. I said this before, and you might have to be like an old timer to remember this. When A Promised Land by Barack Obama came out, I scrolled down on the Amazon page and came across the author bio, which for some reason I found completely hilarious, because the first line is like, Barack Obama was the 44th president of the United States. And the last line was, he lives in Washington, D.C. with his 2 daughters and his wife, Michelle. Which technically, if you're writing a biography of him that's only 4 sentences long, that's what you would include. But I did naturally go to the author page for Bill Clinton, because this is his second book with Patterson. He also came out with The President is Missing. He's going for a very ex-president theme. Anyway, Clinton's bio, if you go to Clinton's page on Goodreads, it says he's from Hope, Arkansas, which, yeah, we know. And also the first line is, he was the 42nd president of the United States. I don't understand who these biographies are for. What alien came down to Earth and is like interested in a good thriller and doesn't know who Bill Clinton is? Why would you go to Goodreads for that information? If I want to understand who Bill Clinton was, I am genuinely almost better off on the Wikipedia page. And I don't recommend Wikipedia for very many things. It's mostly just good for like birthdays, who was president, and where they were born. And even that's, So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm losing my mind, if I'm in this tiny room and I'm getting like delirious or whatever, but I found that really funny. Anyway, The President's Daughter, we're also getting it on audio, and it comes out June 7th. I don't think anything's going to be as funny as that today, because it's all drama, mystery. Although this looks interesting to me. I mean, they all look interesting still. The Maidens by Alex, that last name, Michaelides? No idea. Anyway, this is about Marina, who is certain that Edward is the murderer. Edward is a handsome Greek tragedies professor at Cambridge who's beloved by the campus community and by the secret society of female students called the Maidens. But when a member of the Maidens is murdered, Marina, who's a counselor at Cambridge, becomes fixated on the Maidens and on Edward as the young woman's possible killer. But then another body is found, and Marina's obsession starts to spin out of control, costing her allies and possibly her life. Early readers are giving this a 3.9 stars on Goodreads. So if you want to read a mystery set at Cambridge University, The Maidens comes out June 15th. All right, Dream Girl. This one's a little bit trippy, and it feels like it has a nice take on an unreliable narrator, and I already put away the description of it. So I'm completely convinced there's only one description on the page, even though I'm the one that wrote these descriptions. Okay, Dream Girl by Laura Lippman. This is from the acclaimed author of The Lady in the Lake. It's about a novelist named Gary who's hurt in a freak accident. So now he's apartment bound and like possibly, I think, bed bound a little bit from his injuries. His only companions are his assistant and a night nurse who he doesn't think is entirely competent. He's slipping in and out of consciousness. It's not clear what is a dream and what is real. He feels like he's losing his grip on what's real. And his mother suffered from dementia, so he's worried his injuries are accelerating him towards that faster. But then he starts to receive phone calls from someone who claims to be the Dream Girl, which is the title character in one of his novels, who doesn't exist. It's fiction. But the phone doesn't have any records of any calls coming in to him. So he's imagining them or not? He's not sure. He's convinced it's real. But then, right when his grip on reality is at his most fragile, he wakes up and finds a dead body in his room. Anything's happening here. I think very interesting. If you're interested in Dream Girl, we're also getting the audiobook, and it comes out June 22nd. All right, Survive the Night by Riley Sager. I've read some of his work. Sager, solid author, delivers on the premise, really straightforward. And this book, I think I've read 2 Riley Sager books. Anyway, Survive the Night is set in 1991. Charlie wants a ride home to Ohio after her friend is murdered. So she finds someone else who's going in that direction on the campus ride board. This person is Josh. It's his car. He's driving. There's something a little off about him. He claims to be going home to visit his sick father, but that story has a lot of holes in it. And for some reason, he won't let her go near or look in the trunk. As they travel through deserted roads in the middle of the night, Charlie begins to believe that the man behind the wheel of the car she's in is the campus killer. And now she just needs to survive the night. So this got solid reviews from the early readers on Goodreads. If you're interested in Survive the Night, it comes out June 29th. Okay, Murder at Sunrise Lake by Christine Feehan. She's obviously a best-selling author. This is, I think, labeled as a mystery, and she usually writes mystery, but the premise feels very 80s horror to me because it's about Stella, who's achieved some peace running a resort in the Sierra Nevada mountains, she's in California. She's running from the trauma of her past and not letting anyone in, except maybe the handyman at the resort, who seems to know what she needs before she asks for it. She believes she's having premonitions of a killer in the area, but there's no body, there's no apparent crime, no one's missing, so she doesn't know what to think, except that she knows this time she'll do anything to stop a killer. So yeah, the setting of being in a resort, summer resort in the mountains with a killer on the loose, again, to me feels very 80s horror, but it looks like this is leaning way more mystery if you're not a horror person. It's from a hugely popular author. She checks out like gangbusters. If you're interested in Murder at Sunrise Lake, I would encourage you to put a hold on it now. It comes out June 29th. All right, The Personal Librarian by Marie Benedict and Victoria Christopher Murray. I have actually read the first few chapters of this. It's very interesting. I stopped reading it just because I got distracted by shiny objects, not because it's not a good book. I can't stick with historical fiction very often. Anyway, this is a fictionalized version of a very real person whose name was Bella DaCosta Green. She was J.P. Morgan's personal librarian. She was hired for that role when she was in her 20s, and she helped both take care of his collection and curated it. She became a very shrewd negotiator in getting, rare manuscripts and art pieces. And she had a secret. She told everyone her slightly dark complexion was because she had Portuguese ancestry. She was actually African American and passing as white. So, and that's the point that I had gotten to when I read it, and that's where I felt, oh, this is getting interesting. And then again, I was distracted by shiny object. But Marie Benedict is excellent author, and I think it looks like a really interesting subject. We're also getting it on audio. So if you want to read The Personal Librarian, it comes out June 29th. All right, we're already done with this. Don't forget, on Goodreads, I'm going to put up the hottest series updates that are coming. So I'll try to have that up in the next couple of days. If you're not a member of our Goodreads group, Tea New Book Tuesday, it's a good idea to do that. I do try to add as many books as I can to those discussion boards. I think I'm going to start doing a discussion board a week that contains all the nonfiction, because I don't discuss nonfiction as much, but I want you guys to know what's coming. So being a part of that group would give you a chance to go to the discussion board and just sort of scroll over the nonfiction that's coming in June. If you want to win 7 days in June or Total Olympics, be sure to put I want to win and your MPL location for pickup in the comments below. I'm going to pull the winner on Friday. And in case I haven't said it a million times, the MPL pre-orders newsletter is run by me. I had all the books I'm talking about today, and the way the newsletter is set up, you can click on that title and go straight to our catalog and put it on hold. So if you aren't subscribed, you should subscribe now. Next week, we're going to talk about June yellow labels. So mystery, thriller, and suspense. Until then, have a good week, guys, and thank you for watching. Wait. Stop sharing and say.